Hello everyone, welcome to Tangle with Tracy Anne. In this week's video I'll be showing you how to draw the tangle Dingsplatz. This is the Dingsplatz that we're going to create today, and I'll just show you what I've used for this project. So you have your basic supplies, your white 3.5 inch square tile, your Micron 01 pen, a pencil, a tortillon, and then if you want to go further and do the similar colouring, you can use whatever you like, but for this project I'm using a white and gold gel pen. I've also selected some watercolour pencils and I'm using a water brush. Of course you could use any normal brush with water, and I've also decided to use a Prismacolor pencil, a black one. Mine's getting quite short, and if you have a white charcoal pencil that might be handy as well. So I'm going to start by putting the 4 dots and drawing a border. For a string I'm just going to draw a little circle in the center. You don't necessarily need this, but for what I'm doing it just guides me a little bit. So I'm going to start at that circle and draw a loop going right up into that corner, one in the middle and one in the next corner. Notice I'm coming straight back to that circle each time. Again, one in the middle, one in the corner, until I get right to the edge. You could do random loops and that's fine. Now I'm going to aura the center part. Just take your time and do it nice and evenly all the way around. And I'm going to do the same on the outside. So I'm going to start auraing that line around the circle, and then from there I'm going to take that aura up around each of the loops. That's your basic Dingsplatz. I'm going to just fill in those lines around the border, only the ones in between where my pattern goes. And once you've done all this, you can fill it with whatever tangles you like. I'm going to use watercolour pencils, so it's important to get rid of the pencil lines. If you're not using anything like coloured pencils, watercolour pencils, you don't really need to do this, but whenever you put watercolour over the top of a pencil line, it will show through and it sets it. So I've drawn a circle in the centre and I'm going to fill that space between the aura and the circle with orbs. I'm going to also aura the circle. Draw lines from each of those intersections, and it adds a little bit more dimension to the whole piece. Inside each of these loops I'm going to draw the tangle perk, and it's just a series of parallel lines, so you do 2 close together and leave a gap, and inside the gaps fill it with orbs. The tangles perk and Dingsplatz are both by Zentangle Incorporated. I'm now going to colour all those gaps in the background. Repeat this pattern inside each of the loops. Using my watercolour pencils, I'm going to start with the lighter colour and put that in the centre, and then just gradually add darker colours towards the outside. I'll use my water brush now to activate this. Now I'm letting a fair bit of water out in the centre of this, well, gem I suppose you might call it, and you can see it's gradually spreading into that centre. I'll do a similar thing now with all the loops using similar colours. Start activating the paint from the lighter colour and then gradually go into the dark. If you started with the darker, you'd end up filling that whole thing and wouldn't see that lovely light patch in the middle. If you find that some of your sections are a little bit dark in the centre, you can always pull back some of that paint with your brush. So dry off your brush and then go in with a dry brush. You can really only do this while your paint's still wet, or if it's not still wet, it probably will still work if you wet that section again. So each time dry off your brush and it pulls back some of that paint. I'm going to add a touch of blue to those little orbs around that centre gem. I'm not going to do too much with these. I'll just activate it. Gives them a little tinge of blue. Using my gold gel pen, I'm going to colour all these auras. You notice I'm sort of leaving that black line in the centre black. I'm not colouring over it. So go all around the centre and then all the way around each of those loops. Now that my paint has had time to dry a little bit, I'm coming back in with a dark blue watercolour pencil and drawing some little cracks or fissures as if it's a natural part of the gemstone. And I might do a little bit of that in each of those loops as well. Once I've put some cracks in with this dark blue colour, I might add some black as well. And this is also a black watercolour pencil. I find that once you've activated your paint, you can always come back in using your watercolour pencils and you don't have to re-wet it. I can add a little bit of shading if I want to, but I think I might leave most of that shading for later. So So just go in, add those black lines. The gold gel pen and the watercolor paint takes quite a bit to dry, and especially the watercolor paint, until it's completely dried through. So that's why I've activated that early on, and now I'm going to go in and do some patterning in the background using my Micron 01. This is the pattern, well, sort of the pattern Elegant, and it starts with 3 muka and then going in the opposite direction. If you can't fit in 3, just do 2, and it's a very elegant pattern. I'm just going to put orbs in the spaces because I've got a very small space to fill this pattern. So do that in all of the sections between the loops and the border. Colour the gaps in the background with your black pen. The gold gel pen at the moment looks a little bit flat, so I'm just going to add a bit of character. In the aura around that middle gem, I'm just adding some lines. And then for the rest of the auras, I'm going to scribble so it has more of a vintage kind of an effect, like old crackled gold. If you find that your pen is getting a little bit clogged up, have a piece of scrap paper handy so that you can scribble on it to clear the pen, because the nib of these pens are tubular and they easily get clogged. I find that if you hold the pen very lightly, it's less inclined to get it clogged. Now that I'm holding my pen more lightly, I'm finding that I'm having less problems with it clogging up. I want the black lines to stand out a little bit more, so I'm just going over them with my black pen. Using my graphite pencil, I'm going to put a little bit of shading in the background, so around the edges, and then once I've finished doing all around those little edges, I'll blend that in with my tortillon. Doesn't need much, just a light shading. Graphite doesn't look good on the gold, so I'm using my black Prismacolor pencil to shade here. It doesn't have to be that particular brand. If you have any colour pencils, they'll work just as well. So you can see I'm putting some shadows just in those crevices where they all join together. I'm adding a little bit of black around that circle too, and around the edge of the gold. And doing the same in each of the loops. I'm going to add a little bit more shine to these inner loops by using my white charcoal pencil and just colouring the centre a little bit. I'm now using a white gel pen to add some sparkles to the gem in the centre. My sparkles aren't standing out terribly well, so I'm adding just a little bit of black coloured pencil around them so they stand out a little bit more. Add the initials and there's Dingsplatz. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, do that so that you don't miss out on future videos. And if you'd like to share your work in my Facebook group, there's a link below this video. Thank you for watching, and until next week, stay safe and bye for now. If you'd like to see more of my videos, head over to my YouTube channel, or there are a couple of links here on the screen. And while you're here, hit that subscribe button.